For us, color is a combination of precise calculations and well-defined algorithms, uncompromising design and engineering, relentlessly refining our methods, and spending countless hours to perfect our product. For us, that is color. Every detail counts. Our promise is to give you the most color-critical monitor ever, and to vibrantly bring your vision to life. With your color, the true color.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vicente Loschmidt, and I'm the Digital Marketing Manager for BenQ in Central and Eastern Europe. And it's my pleasure to welcome you today to today's webinar on Photoshop with Nemanja Sekulic. I can't tell you how excited we are to have you all here with us. This webinar we've been preparing for quite a while, and a lot of love and care has been put into it, and I think you're really going to love it. Three things that I want to go over before we begin. The very first of which being that for those of you who are already following BenQ, you know that we've been having a design contest at the moment. And the design contest has already been ended. And now we're going to go into announcing the winners. And actually, we just had the very first winner has been announced. So you should be seeing here now my screen. This is on our Instagram page, you'll see here. And this was the design contest that we had. We had 200 entries, which is just a fantastic number. And there are AccuColor monitors to win, as well as cash prizes with the contest. And we're now going to be rolling out the announcement of who has been winning, who has won in these contests. And the very first one is actually someone from Hungary, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, Attila Lautvardi. And one of the three judges actually of the contest is Nemanja himself. So for those of you who have been paying attention to that, you can stay tuned on our social media, and we always have contests happening for different people. It's a fantastic way, of course, to win a monitor, to win prizes, but also to get recognition for your work. So it's a really, really exciting thing. Onto the webinar itself, there are two more points that I want to talk about. The first of which being that today's webinar will be sent to you, the recording of which, in 24 hours. So you will be receiving that in your inbox. And the last point that I want to make is that all of our participants today will be receiving a small gift from BenQ, which is a 10% discount code on our AccuColor monitors. Now, for those of you who don't know, BenQ has two lines of monitors built for artists in mind. We have the PD line, which is for professional designers, and the SW line, which is built for professional photographers. Now, these monitors are built from the ground up to cater to artists' needs. The biggest pain point often for an artist is when it comes to color accuracy. Perhaps you've had this experience before. You're editing photography or design or working on Photoshop like Nemanja does, and then you print out the piece or you look at it on a different display and suddenly you realize that the colors are not matching. The colors that you thought you were looking at weren't actually accurate. For example, if you're editing, you're doing wedding photography, which is quite a prolific industry at the moment, maybe the roses that you were looking at and editing for such a long time looked red to you, and yet when you printed it out or looked at a different screen, suddenly it was maroon or more of a brownish color, and this can be quite frustrating. BenQ monitors have been built from the ground up with this concept of AccuColor technology, assuring that you have the most color accurate monitor possible. Each monitor is individually calibrated and comes with its own calibration reports to ensure that you have the best experience possible. Beyond that, they come with a bevy of features and the functions which are built for artists in mind, multitude of modes, whether you're a designer who works with animation or CAD/CAM, for example, which is very prominent, for example, with industry design, for example, or car design, or you're someone who works a lot with different color spaces or with the black and white photography, for example. There's a multitude of different functions and features built in mind just for that. The monitors are matte coated, which funnily enough is one of the favorite features of some of our artists, is because you don't have to worry about working in the daytime or nighttime with having a reflection. And my personal favorite feature, as you saw in the video before, is the little hotkey puck. It's a little puck that allows you to switch between different modes and easily switch settings on the fly when you're working. And the monitors really come in a host of different sizes, resolutions, and budget range, really. So for no matter if you're someone who's just starting off with their journey with designer photography, or you're someone like Nemanja who's already working this professionally, there is a monitor built in mind for you. And the final thing that I want to say about that is, do not take our word for it. We've had the pleasure of working with so many talented artists. I myself have had the pleasure of collaborating with so many incredible photographers and designers in Europe. And none of the reviews that you see are ever scripted, or we tell people to say what we want them to say. This is really all coming from them. So I urge you to have a look online to really see for yourself and to be convinced yourself. On to Nemanja himself. I am so excited today about this webinar because I met Nemanja about 3 years ago, and we've been working together with other projects. And we even once had a workshop, which we hope to do again soon once the current situation with the current global situation has improved. And for those of you who already know Nemanja's work, you know that he is one of the most prolific and talented voices when it comes to Photoshop. He is at almost 500,000 subscribers on YouTube and just has an incredible amount of content and of educational content when it comes to Photoshop. And what makes Nemanja such a special person to learn from is he's not just very talented and has all of this experience, but on top of that, he's just so passionate about what he does. When you're with Nemanja, whether it's virtually or if you ever have the pleasure and the luck to be in the same room with him, there is such an energy that comes from Nemanja. It makes it such a pleasure to learn with him. And I have no doubt that you're going to love today's webinar for that same reason as well. And the last thing I'll say before we really hand it off to Nemanja is that the Q&A section, there will be a Q&A section, which is at the very end of the webinar. So once we finish the content, we will then have questions where Nemanja will be interacting with you one-on-one to really answer all of your questions. And with that, I'd like to hand it off to Nemanja, and I wish you all a wonderful webinar.
Vicente, we started? Yeah. Oh. Sorry, guys. Hey, guys, it's Nemanja, and welcome to another really fun episode. That was something that I usually like to say when I start my YouTube tutorials. All right, so before we start, what I like to know from you guys, can you please raise your hands if you are seeing me for the first time here? Oh, there are too much of you. This will not work. So because I cannot see you actually, let's do something else. I will share a poll, and just a second. Okay, here you will have 30 seconds to answer this question. So I would like to see how many people of here attendees are seeing actually me for the first time here. How many of you already know me from YouTube, Instagram, or other projects, whatever. So I'm curious about that. So I will give you around half a minute. Enjoy. Okay, so this is how many people seeing me for the first time. Pretty cool. And because of that, let me just give me a second to expand my window here to have a better view of these things. There are so many things going on here. So 36% of you guys are seeing me for the first time, and 64 of you already know about me. I'm glad about that. So let's hide this. And before we actually start, I like to introduce myself. So I'm a professional photographer, digital artist, and educator, and I'm doing this crazy photo manipulation thing, enjoying this photo manipulation world for more than 20 years. I started a long time ago, so more than 20 years, and I really love my job. I can say I really love my job, and my main interest is obviously photo manipulation. So I will share my screen now to show you just a moment. So let's start sharing this. Okay, I hope that you will now see my screen. Let's give a few seconds waiting for the screen. I don't know, Vicente, please type me here if everything is okay, if people are seeing my screen, because I cannot see that currently. So I want to make sure that everything is here okay.
Yeah. Nemanja, from my side, I can't see your screen at the moment.
Okay, so that's cool, because here I don't know what is actually in the view, but it doesn't matter. So if you can see my screen, I hope that that's the case. This is kind of work that I really enjoy. So basically, these are all photo manipulations, and photo manipulations are combinations of several different photos, several different elements. It can be 2, 5, 10, 20, doesn't matter. It can be a combination of photography and okay, so let's share it again. Let's share it again. Can you see it now? Yeah, probably yes, because I can see it now. So sorry guys about technical issues, but that's how things are going when you're doing live. So these, let's go again. These are the photos that I really enjoy to create. Photo manipulations, combinations of several different elements. There's so many different techniques that you can use in order to create this kind of photo manipulations. And before I start before I go more into depth into this photo manipulation sections, if you want to know more about me or to get in touch with me, etc., you can do that via my website or my Instagram page. Also, you can go here on the About Me section, and you can find all other links where you can actually find me. So these images are something that is the result of my imagination. Obviously, some of my images are inspired by other artists, and I will talk about that later. It's really cool to find inspiration in some other work, but not copy them, but just be inspired and create something on your own behind that. So for example, this photo right there, this is obviously inspired by the movie and the book, The War of the Worlds. So War of the Worlds, science fiction novel, and science fiction is my favorite genre, so I really love that. But some other things are my original, like for example, the Dune movie is made by my book. Obviously, I'm joking. So this is another photo that is inspired by a movie, but there are some other photos that are completely my own work, and you can check them out here on my website, etc. So I don't want to too much waste my time here. Also, I have a course, Photo Manipulation Essentials. It's complete course that you need in order to start photo manipulations. If you are new to that, if you don't know how to do your first photo manipulation, how to start thinking about that, let me show you here how to get an idea, where to get an idea, and things like that. You can see here more about that. You can go to my website, you can check out the course and everything. There are so many things covered. And also, just for the attendees of this webinar, I have a special gift, a discount of $50 off if you use my coupon code NSCourse50. So it will last only for a couple of days, limited time, just for you guys here watching this webinar. All right, so before we continue, I want to go with another poll and to see at what level of Photoshop you are. So this is something that I'm curious about this. So please answer the poll here. I will give you again a couple of seconds. Let's say around 30 seconds, it's enough. Okay, you're answering. Take your time. Take your time, you have 2 more seconds, 1 more second, okay, a little bit more. All right, so I think this is pretty enough. So let's see the results. You're all curious about the results, so let's share them. And this is how the things are. Most of you are hobbies. There are a lot of professionals actually here, more than I expected. That's great, amazing. And also pretty good amount of you that are just started. Some of you people haven't started yet, but you're curious. Okay, that's really cool. I'm really happy about the situation here. So let's start with introduction, what we will do today, and then we will actually do something. First, I will talk about what photo manipulation is, and briefly talk about how to get an idea, where to get, how to be inspired, and how to train your imagination actually to think better, to get that idea and put it on some other level, etc. And then I will show some examples. We will have 3 examples today. So basically 3 short photo manipulations. The last one is the longest, obviously, but I think you will like it. So basically, photo manipulations, as I already said, it's a technique of combining several different images from different sources. It can be a combination just of photography, or it can be a combination of photography and 3D elements, or photography and even drawing, painting, etc. And when you use these elements, combine them together to match them perfectly, the idea with photo manipulation is to make the realistic photo manipulation, so that when somebody look at that photo manipulation, doesn't know exactly it's a fake. Obviously, it's a fake if it's something science fiction, etc. Who knows? It doesn't need to be fake. But the point is that everything is matched. The light is good on all the objects there. The perspective is good on the other objects. Also, the color is matched from all the sources, etc. Then you can say you achieved a really good job. And that's something that is actually achieved by practicing. So you cannot just start your first photo manipulation and say like, wow, I'm pro now, I matched everything. It's maybe if you're, I don't know, some special person, one of the kind, and then that could be the case. I can say that my first photo manipulation was really bad. Unfortunately, I don't have it to show you because it was on one hard drive that exploded. Actually, my whole computer exploded in one moment of time. Don't ask me how, it's a long story, but in that way I learned that I need to have a backup. So that was a hard way to learn. And obviously, at least in my experience, a lot of people learn in that way to need to back up their work. But the photo manipulation was photo of my father scanned 22 years ago, almost scanned. Then I scanned some photos from newspapers and combined them together to make a photo manipulation of my father standing on a mountain near the campfire with a rifle in his hand, and like, that's it. But in real life, that looks like you took scissors, cut out my father, cut out mountain, campfire, rifle, and just glue them together like a collage, and like, wow, voila, you have it. Obviously, after that, I started practice and practice and practice and practice, and I'm self-taught. I finished the faculty of graphic design, but before that, I learned many things on my own, because I was studying electrical engineering. So in my journey to graphic design, I went through telecommunications and completely different thing, and I realized that this is, you can see me now, my passion. So okay, let's see here. There are a few reasons why you should make photo manipulation. Maybe you're asking, well, why would I do that? Well, because sometimes for me, the main reason, it's fun, and I'm enjoying that. So if you're doing something that you love, it's like you're playing with it, like a kid with the toy. It's amazing feeling. So you don't need to get up in the morning and like, oh, I need to go to work, a crowded space, my head is, actually my head is, I bumped my head in a door just a few minutes before the webinar. So things like that. The point of photo manipulation actually is that you can create something either that is not existing in the real world, or you can create something with much less expense than it would took you actually to do it regularly. So for example, just something that came on my mind is, your client wants you to, for example, take a photo of, what's happening with this lamp? It's flickering. I don't want that. So your client wants you to take photo of an Eiffel Tower, and with some couple there, some love story or whatever, something like that. And for that, if you're not living in Paris, you need to book the plane ticket, you need to book the hotel, and all these things to book the models. Or if the models are from your country, you're taking them to the Paris, so you need to book everything from them too. So that's a lot of expenses. The other way is to find a photo of Eiffel Tower and create your own vision of that, or to go online and to purchase the photo of Eiffel Tower that you actually need, or to hire a photographer from Paris that will take a photo of the Eiffel Tower with the specific angle, specific lenses, etc. that you need. And then you can use the models, place them, go with them in the studio, place the lights, choose the style of the wardrobe and anything that you need, and then create any kind of story. So if you need to create like a story of them flying, like the wind is so strong that the male is holding female, and like the wind is blowing her, and something like that, everything is doable in real life, but it's much less expensive with photo manipulations. Or also you can create even more interesting thing with the photo manipulation. So I love both things. I did in my career, I did both things. I did real life things, photography, and photo manipulation for me is fun, especially because you can create something that is not available in real life, like some science fiction scenes, some outer space scene, or whatever. So anything that you can imagine, you can do it. The only limitation is your imagination that can be trained, fortunately. And also the other limitation is the knowledge of using the software tools in order to be able to create that. So everything is doable. If you are passionate enough, if you really like to do that, then you need to spend time and just sit down and start learning it, and give yourself a time. Don't expect to be a pro in a year. There are people who are really good, that has a really good background from, I don't know, they're painters or whatever, they have really good experience, and they just like to copy that knowledge on the screen digitally, and that's doable in really short period of time. But if you're just starting, please give yourself a time. Don't rush with that, because mostly people just giving up after a while. They see that they cannot make something like they see some other creators or artists are doing, and they just give up. So don't be like that. Okay, so now let me tell you a little bit about the tools that I use, about the software tools, obviously. So I love to use Photoshop for most part of my creative process. But also I love to use some other softwares, especially 3D softwares like Cinema 4D, ZBrush, Marvelous Designer, Blender. I just started learning Blender from Cinema 4D. It's completely different experience. It's for me a little bit, it's fun, obviously, and I really love it, especially that Blender is amazing free 3D software. So if you want to get into 3D and you don't want to pay for the software, go with the Blender. It's amazing. So there's a lot of these type of tools that you can use to improve the quality and the amount of things that you can create and put inside your work. Obviously, if you don't want to learn 3D and you're not an expert, but you need some 3D models, you can always hire somebody, especially if you're doing a project for a client and you will get payment for that. You can afford yourself to pay for some I don't know, 3D artist to make something for you, etc. You always need to calculate that into your I don't know how to say, into your price for the final work. Okay, so now let's talk about the fun part. People usually ask me, this is probably the most asked question, is how to get an idea for the photo manipulation. So there are so many ways you can get an idea, like Newton got it. Just sit under the apple tree and wait to something fall in your head, but that's not something that I would recommend. How I can tell you how I getting ideas for my work. So basically, I love to read books. I like to watch movies, TV series, and I can use a lot of situations from these things, from books, movies, TV series, and change it a little bit, or make it more fun or more sad, or emphasize it in any way and create something. Or sometimes literally I want to create something from the movie, like you saw some of my movie posters from Dune, etc. So you're seeing me, I'm not sure, but you can, I don't know if you know, but you can expand me, because now you probably see me and Photoshop with my coupon code that I will now hide, and we will go. I will show this. This is just a start, but I will show later this. So let's go. Let me see just a second here. Give me a second to. Okay, I want to see this. All right. So that's there. These are few ways how you can just get the idea, but how to train your imagination, how to be even more, how to say, how to imagine even more things, even more crazy things, how to get at. Well, I explained that, and everything that I'm speaking here, I explained in my course more into depth, but here we don't have too much time for this. So basically, I will show you one example that I really love. That's one of the exercises that are really good for it. So people are complaining that they are not able to imagine things like, for example, I'm able to imagine, or some other artists, etc. Like you're lucky, you can imagine everything, blah blah blah. So to nije tačno. Za sve naše koji slušaju, to nije tačno. That was in Serbian. That's not true. For all my people, that's not true. Okay, so how to improve your imagination? Very easily, my friend. Very easily. Let's do an exercise. Sit back, relax, and be in the frame. So I can put the camera a little bit down like this, because I want to relax too. Okay, so imagine, I'm imagining this right now in this very moment. I didn't prepare this. Imagine a mushroom, just one mushroom on the completely white background. There is nothing else there. Imagine that mushroom. It can be any kind of mushroom. I don't want to suggest which kind of it. It's your own. Any kind of mushroom. So pečurka, mushroom. Then let's try to imagine a little bit of the grass growing out from that white background. So just around the mushroom, a little bit of the grass growing, really nice green grass, like it's fresh, young grass. Then suddenly the grass is covering the mushroom. It's higher than a mushroom, and suddenly that mushroom is like, it's even bigger than the grass. In a matter of seconds, it's bigger than the grass. So we have grass, we have a mushroom, big. Imagine how big you want it. doesn't matter. In that moment of time that mushroom came big, you can see the doors and the windows of the mushroom, and you can see some chimney from the roof of the mushroom, and maybe some smoke there. And the door are opening. You can hear. That's maybe like a chicken. It doesn't matter, but you can hear like how do you say, škripa vrata. You know that sound. Okay, so the white rabbit, it's coming out from the mushroom. That's crazy already. So rabbit from mushroom. When you eat the mushroom, think about the rabbit. And start running through that grass field. But how the rabbit is running, the grass field is expanding. It's enormous. It's in infinity grass field. And just suddenly you see a boot squishing the mushroom. So there are no more mushroom, just a boot, big boot. And you're looking up and you see a huge giant, big giant. You can imagine his face, his wardrobe, whatever. Is he looking good, bad, scary, nice? However you want to imagine, big giant. He just squished the mushroom. And then with every single of his step, you're hearing, you're seeing. And your image is just shaking. And we will stop here because we can make a movie. You got a point. We can make a movie out of this. So the point is that everyone can imagine things. Everyone can imagine. And now when you know that you can imagine this on one or another way, and everyone imagine things differently, and that's really good. That's amazing. That's beautiful, because you cannot create, and you will not create exactly the same artwork. Even if you copy some artists to create exactly the same thing, like I'm doing my Photoshop tutorials, and a lot of my viewers are exactly copying what I'm doing, because that's really good way to learn, not to promote it as your own work, but to learn. It's an amazing way to copy. That's not the same. And two of these artists that are copying my artwork, these two are completely, I'm showing 4 fingers, two are completely different. So that's amazing. And that's the exercise that I recommend to all of you if you want to train your imagination to be more imaginative, to be able to imagine whatever you want. Reading books helps. I will not go into the theory of that. I explained that in the course, but it's too much theory. I know that all of you guys want to see me doing some photo manipulations, but reading books helps, definitely, because you're developing your brain. Like when you're exercising, you're developing your muscles. So reading books develop these neural, how to say, these connections, and you're developing your brain. All right. So now that you know how to do that, the next step, what I like to do is to make mood boards, or by mood boards I mean to collect some inspirational boards, to collect some ideas. So for example, I use some softwares for that, and one of the softwares that are really good is PureRef. PureRef is amazing. I will show you actually. PureRef is this software right here. So I hope that you're seeing it now, and it's amazing because you can put as much as you want things here. So I want to create some kind of a robot, and I'm going online and just dragging the robots here. And another amazing thing is that you can zoom however you want and see the details, etc. And also you can just create several different boards. Maybe you want some robots here, maybe you want some other group of robots there, etc. So you can have your things and be inspired by this. Also, another app is called Eagle, and it's a little bit advanced app. There are a lot of things doing there. I will probably do a review of that app or something I will show in my future tutorials. And also I like to use Pinterest. So because on Pinterest you can just save your pins and create your own inspirational or mood boards, and in that way you can just try to improve your ideas, not to copy exactly. So for example, let me bring back the robot. So for example, here you want to create your own robot but you don't want to copy this one or really this cute one or this one, or I don't know, you can use this as an inspiration and start to make combination of some things that you like to create your own. So that's really cool, or however you want, but it's really nice. Or just the helmet of this one for something and the body of, I don't know, not this one, but this one, for example. You got a point. So there are a lot of these things that you can do there. And also you can beside that, after the process of making the idea, getting the idea, finding inspiration, everything that I taught until now, it's done. You need to find proper images for your photo manipulations. That's tedious process. That's something that can take a lot of time, but you need to do it. Either take your own photos or go online and find some free or paid stock photos. For free stock photos, you can go to unsplash.com, pixabay.com, pexels.com, and they have amazing assets there, amazing photos, but also you can go to some paid stock sites for photo manipulations. I really love Envato Elements because you have either photos or 3D elements that you can rotate and position them however you want. So I really love them and using them lastly quite a lot. And also you can go to other stock photos like iStock Photo, I don't know, Shutterstock, or there are a bunch of things there. So there's so many ways how you can get photos. Fortunately, there are these free stock websites, but you cannot expect to get everything that you need for free. Sometimes you can, but sometimes you just cannot find proper things. All right, so another thing that I'm really curious about is when you have everything, when you have photos, when you have idea, when you gather all the elements, you need to get in the front of the screen, like I'm right now here, and you need to start combining everything here. So imagine that you're taking your own photos and you're using great studio light, great camera with expensive lenses and everything, and now you're sitting in front of your computer and you have a bad screen, either a laptop or I don't know, monitor, but it's not good. That's not good. So I'm curious, how many of you guys are actually working on pro monitors? How many of you guys are actually are the monitors important to you? You have the awareness of that. So I will pull another poll here, and I will give you another 30 seconds to answer this. And I'm really curious about this. Okay, so just a little bit more time and we will share the results. Let's see. Let's share this and let's see. Okay, so I use non-professional monitor and I edit mostly on laptop. So most of you guys are editing on laptop, and that's cool if you have a good laptop. So if you have some really cheap laptop with a bad screen, that's completely not good. Let's see, but right, like almost 30% of you guys are using professional monitors. I'm really happy about that. And now I will turn this to Vicente. So, oops, sorry. I will turn this to Vicente and to play one slide here. Let's give it a moment. And I will talk about why the monitors are important. So as I already said, you're using a lot of professional equipment, and then you're investing a lot and you're sitting in front of your screen and edit it on a bad screen. That's really bad, because the screen is as important as all other equipment that you're using to gather all the elements. If you're just using internet and photos from internet or creating some 3D elements, etc., then the monitor is probably one of, if not the most important tool there, because hardware to say, because you are seeing the photo on that monitor, you're seeing the image there. And if, as Vicente said at the beginning, you need to be sure that you're seeing proper yellow or proper red color. You don't want to make something and then send it to client, and clients see something completely different or different tone. And sometimes these tones are so important to clients. Slight shift in tones are really doing completely different moods, etc. So also, if you want to print something out, you need to make sure that you are doing that on the right monitor. Also, bad monitors can show you bad saturation and luminosity values, and something that you see really cool on the screen when you put online. Majority of people will see on their phones that are today pretty good quality phones, but we don't use good quality monitors. The photo is completely washed out or too saturated, or it's something that you don't want to present yourself like that. So something was boom outside, so this is why I paused. I'm using BenQ monitors. Something happening outside, I don't know what, but it's really loud. I'm using BenQ monitors for a long time now, couple of years. I'm really liking it because they are sharp, the color production is amazing, great quality of the screen panel, etc. And also it's really good for my eyes. So you can see here there is a special thank you discount code for 10% if you want to purchase some of BenQ's monitors. I'm personally really happy, and I can personally recommend the BenQ monitors. That's why I'm BenQ Ambassador, because I really love them, and that's the reason why I decided to work with them, because that's something that is really important to me. So you can use this discount code for 1 month. It will be available for 1 month for you if you are up to that. And I advise you to, if you can, obviously use that opportunity. Let's go into Photoshop and let the fun begin. All right. So first of all, today I will show a couple of different tricks here in Photoshop, how you can do simple and more complex things. First of all, I will show something really simple, but the idea is that you need to be creative in finding solution of the problem that you have. So the problem here, the idea, what we want to do here is to put this model right here inside the wheat field. So you can see the model has a dress here, etc. But this dress is actually a 3D dress that I made in Marvelous Designer, and I put everything in one group. I will not now go around that and show all the things, but the point is that you can see the dress is completely separate object, and obviously the model is separate object. And if I zoom it here, you can see that we took the photo in the studio and put the dress over the model. That was really cool test for me to do something here, and there are some works that need to be done on this dress, but for this tutorial, for this example, it doesn't need to be so good. The point of all 3 examples that I want to show you today, because of the time's sake, I will not go too much into making it perfect. Rather, the idea is me showing you some ideas, some techniques, how to do something, and to get from this webinar a lot of different techniques and ideas, and maybe the solutions from some of your problems, rather than seeing me making really clean, nice image, because for that you need more time than just for this webinar. So I hope that you understand that. All right. So now, first of all, we need to put the model in the wheat field. In order for this to work, we need obviously to have the lighting on the model, same like lighting here in the scene. This background right there is a photo that I took in France, in Provence, when I was there taking some, doing some photo shooting for a client. And this is, it's really beautiful nature there, first of all, and the sunset was wonderful, etc. And also this is the HDR, or combination of several different images. The sky is from one exposure, then this is another exposure, and the wheat field, it's from third exposure, because otherwise the dynamic range of just one file, you wouldn't be able to see the clouds and everything. The sky from just one photo is completely washed out, and this is all the silhouettes, etc., because the sun is shining so bright, obviously, directly in the camera, and the dynamic range off camera, it's not even close to the human eye, at least not yet. All right, so this is how the background looks. We need to match the model there. There are so many ways how we can do that. I will show you one of the ways. Obviously, we need to make the model a little bit darker. That I already did here with the dress. Let me show you. What I did here, I used hue and saturation adjustment layer, and let's reset this. I used hue and saturation adjustment layer, and I changed the color. I went to colorize, changed the color to red because I really like it, and boost the saturation up, and also lower the brightness a little bit. So this is it. There is one really cool trick that I like to use to check if this is okay, because sometimes color can mess up with your ability to see luminosity properly. So you can go over the top of all layers, go to black and white adjustment layer, and now you're seeing just luminosity values. So the colors are not messing with you now. And now you can properly see, okay, maybe I want dress to be dark red like this, or this is not a good idea to have a dress like that, because if you uncheck this layer, that should be out of the group, and do this, this is crazy, very crazy. You don't want that. So something like this is cool, but also what we need to do here is to make her a little bit darker. So I would go either on the whole model or just here in the group where this girl is, and go with either curves or exposure and make everything a little bit darker. So I can go with the curves, clip it to affect only this group where the model is model. So creatively naming these groups, and let's make it darker. So if you're making something darker, this is cool. You're boosting a little bit saturation. So if you don't want to boost saturation and still make something darker, there's a really cool trick. You can go from normal to luminosity blending mode, and that's really cool way. But we don't want to make her like she went out of the oven without anybody to offense, but she needs to be just a little bit darker. Okay, she is a Caucasian, so she needs to be something probably like this. All right. Let's see, before and after. Okay, let's say this is acceptable. And now we need to position her somewhere where we want to be. So I want her to put somewhere there, for example. And in order to put it in the wheat field, we need to create a layer mask. And with a black color, you think, okay, this is easy. You just need to do this. Well, no. If you do this, just this, it's fake. It's so fake that even the beginners will say, I don't like this. Okay, so you need to find a solution, creative solution, how to make this really good, but not to lose too much time. There is one really cool way, and that's ask your friend to do something for you. That's to make a custom Photoshop brush. So here, if I zoom it, you will see this is a wheat, and wheat has a specific shape, and you want to cut the dress in that shape, obviously, in order to be acceptable, in order to make her like, to appear like she's actually in that wheat field. So to do that, we can create a custom wheat brush, and we can either draw it on our own, or we can use some wheat images from online. I actually went to pixabay.com and just typed a wheat as the illustrations and got this. And this is just some illustration. It's not a vector file, it's PNG without a background. It's a bitmap file. You can see it's pixel file, but it's really fast way to use it because it's out of the background. And what we can do in order to create a custom brush, we need to make the thing that we want to represent the brush completely black and the background completely white. So that's it. It's really simple. We can erase some parts. So not like this, but like this. We don't need this. I can just delete it. And I want to use this as a brush. I can either use whole the image here, or maybe I want to get rid of this part right there. For this, that's pretty much okay. What we can do now, we can crop this until here. And this is okay, because there are some small things here going on. I don't want to crop it. I need that. And now we need to make this black and white. Again, so many ways how you can do it. I can press Control Command U to go with the hue and saturation, and just go with luminosity all the way down. And that's it. And with this, we can create a brush. We can just use it like this, or if you don't want to be confused, you need a white background. You don't need white background, but here, let's say we need a white background, and we can just go here and say edit and define a brush preset, and we can name this, let's with brush. All right, and this is it. We have it. We can change the size, and we can change the size, and that's it. That's the only thing that we can change for now. But now, if we go back to the, and it scores 50. If we go back to this, we need to make this brush a little bit different. So I don't want to, let's create a new layer. I don't want to have opportunity only to do this. This is crazy. Nobody would like this. If you press F5 on the keyboard or go here to brush properties, we can see so many properties here, and we want to play with this. So first of all, I want to go to shape dynamics. And with shape dynamics, I can change the size. Size jitter means that you will, with every stroke, you're changing the size of it, as you can see. So that's cool. Also, I want to say it like this. Also, I want to go to the angle. So if we go with the angle a lot, that means that this brush will go crazy around. We don't want that. We just want slightly to change the angle, just a little bit, and you can always try. So that's cool, maybe a little bit more, because you need to see how this width feels works. So it's not windy. So this is okay. Roundness, you can play with this too, so it will make a little bit more variation. I don't want too much, but that's pretty cool. And scattering, it will scatter a little bit of this, so it will do this. Okay, so I want just maybe a few percent, maybe, I don't know, let's see, 5% is good. And also you can go back to brush tip and shape and go with the spacing a little bit more, because now it's too dense. And this is something that is cool. If we adjust the size according to this width right here, see, we can make something interesting, and a little bit lower. And now we can go back to the mask of the model and lower the size and do something like this. Also, we can undo if we don't like, or just paint with the brush. We can go back to brush properties, and I want spacing a little bit more. I like this sound. Okay, here. And this looks cool for now. It doesn't look perfect, but we need to do something more here. So let's see if we want. This is better, a little bit better. We can also rotate this to make something like that. Or if you want, you can always go and change the brush, actually the shape of the brush. We made the brush, let's go back here. We made the brush to look like the width is bent on one side. We could do something like this. Okay, we could use this and just use this one, rotate, make it straight, and just use this as a brush, or maybe create a combination of two of these, copy one and make it smaller, and maybe rotate it here or invert it and put it somewhere here and do something like that. And that could be also another brush that I would make this a little bit bigger and then turn it into brush and do exactly the same thing. But the point is that in that way of creative thinking, you can make your job much easier. Now we need to make some things here better. First of all, we have this mask with all of this right there. And in order to make this even more believable, because the sun is right here, this needs to be darker. And there are so many ways how we can do it, and we will mostly make the wheat field darker, so we will play with the background. I will go right here, and I will use the same black and white adjustment layer to make it darker. And we can do that by changing the blending mode from normal to luminosity. If you don't know how this blending mode works, if you're a beginner, or actually you never thought about that, I have a dedicated tutorial about that on my YouTube channel, so you can watch it and learn how everything works. But for this demonstration, let's say the luminosity will only affect luminosity blending mode affects luminosity. So that means that if we go with yellow or red, we will affect not the color but the luminosity of it. So we are making things darker, as you can see. Also green, we are making things darker right there. Obviously, we need a layer mask. So I will invert the layer mask with Control-Command-I. Then I will go here, either control-click to load this as a layer mask, or I don't need that at all. I can go back and use a regular brush. Right here, make it softer, make it really soft, why not? And just paint with the white tone here. I can paint it like really strong like this, or because I'm using, that's something that I want to ask you. I'm using a pen. I'm using a pen, and I can control the pressure. So I can use this, and if I slightly pressure, I can control the amount of the ink that I'm applying here, and we can make the shadow out of this. See? So it's not precise shadow. I could copy her. Let's do it. Let me show you. I could go right here, and the model layer right here, and let's create a new layer, fill it with black, and just invert it. In this case, I can invert it, but usually you cannot do this because our light source is almost in the front of her, and we can do this, but usually it would be pretty fake because of the direction of the shadow, and we don't want that. But it would be something like this, and even more probably. Not probably, but it should be even more, and we can change the perspective and everything, and so on and so forth. And then we can create a layer mask and just slightly go over the top of this from the white color and just bring white color. Okay, I messed up, wrong layer. I want layer mask, so you can just go here and paint back some things, and you want to have a little bit harsher shadows, but not so much. And then you need to go and let's just lower the opacity. You need to go and probably go with either smudge tool or blur tool and blur everything that is a little bit further away from the model, etc. And let's say that this is okay. It's not okay. What I would do here, let's do it. I would make this. Let's see, I would make this even darker, and then I need to adjust the shadows too, but I want to make this really dark, and this is okay-ish. We need to make a better brush to find a better wheat field, but you got the idea. And also to make her a little bit darker, so we can go all the way here to the model. We can go with the exposure, and we can lower the exposure on the model. Not again like this here. We can lower exposure of the model, invert it. I always like to do that, and then to paint back a little bit here. So am I painting here? Oh, I'm blur tool. Don't use blur tool for painting because you will have a bad result. You don't want that. Okay, so we can, we can make her dirty, but in a normal way dirty. Okay, so we can create something like this, and we can say, oh, this is really good. It's not even close, but we need to spend a little bit more time. Let's say that this is good. And when you're finished with this, you can merge everything into, what is this? It's nothing. We can merge everything into one layer. Okay, Shift Control Alt E or Shift Command Option E on the Mac, and we can go to Filter. We can go to Camera and play with a little bit of color grading. The shadow is okay-ish. Again, I said there are so many things. Okay, calibration, let's do it. Let's make a little bit of the orange and teal look. Not too much because we can go too much and that's like orange and teal, but I don't want too much, just slight hint of it. Okay, we can open the shadows a little bit. And I don't want to play too much because this is already HDR photo and as a background. And let me see. Maybe a little bit of the color grading to add a little bit in the mid-tones, to add a little bit of the reddish tone, something like the sunset vibe, maybe a little bit more warm. And maybe let's go here to a linear gradient and just add a gradient right there and make everything like this. No, a little bit darker. A little darker and a little bit less saturated because shadows are a little bit less saturated. And that's probably it. So let's see. If you press P on a keyboard, you will see before and after. So for this example, I think this is pretty cool. So again, before and after this little bit of color grading, it's pretty cool. So again, the idea here, it was me showing you how you can creatively thinking to avoid making manually mask, etc. You can just really easily create a brush and do like this. Obviously, every single photo manipulation is trials and errors, and probably, I don't know, I don't remember if I did something for the first time, like complete project from start to finish, that I didn't change a few things as I'm going. For example, here I started with this wheat brush, and now I don't like it. I would change it for some other wheat brush. I would find another wheat, and or maybe the same one, but I will try to create a different brush to bend it a little bit. Maybe I can go right here and let me show you. Maybe I like different positions, so I can go to this layer. I can go to edit and puppet warp, and here I can just expand this. I can just go and do something like, let me show you, do something like this. Like, obviously, this is a mistake. We don't want mistakes. We can erase that. But you got a point. You can make this however you want, straighten it, turn it on the other side, etc. And then you can go right here and say, I don't want this, and create perfect brush for your own project. So this is a little bit tilted on the right and needs to be a little bit more dark, etc. But it's okay for this example. All right. So any questions? Okay, you in the corner there. Yeah, I know, I already said it's not perfect here, but the point is me showing you how to do it something, or to get the idea of making this. And now it's up to you to practice, experiment, and have fun doing this. Right, let me show you something really cool here. Let's open another file. I have two really cool monitors. SW271, amazing for retouching. I love it. My main screen, and another one here that I have a bunch of open windows. This is why I'm looking on the left constantly. It's PD 3200U. It's amazing 32-inch monitor that I use when I'm doing 3D work, because it's big screen real estate, and I really love it. Also for video editing, I'm using that too. All right, so both of these screens I had a review on YouTube, so you can check that out. Before we continue with another really cool work that I will show right now, let's open it. It's this one. Some of you probably know it and saw it. It's my latest speed art. It's a big file. So my latest speed art. I have a speed up video. Speed art means that I did the full image, but speed it up for almost 2000%, and you're seeing me going everything. This took me 5 hours. You're seeing everything in 10 minutes. So I want to show you some really cool tips and tricks on this one that you don't see online on YouTube. So before that, let's close this. I don't want this. I will leave you this as a marketing trick. I'm not joking, but I'm joking. You got me. All right, so again, this. Okay, so let's see. Before we start with this, I want to pull another poll here. And it's this one. It's really easy to answer, just A and or B. So, oh, we have a C. We have a C. So let me know, do you like to use, or do you prefer or using a mouse or drawing tablet, or you like both equally? So again, I will give you a little bit of time and let's see. I will try to guess that most of you guys are using drawing tablets. Hopefully, because it's so beneficial, but try to be honest. Don't switch the answers. I think you can do that, but don't switch the answers, be honest. All right, so let's see. Few more seconds and it's done. It's done. I'm stopping this. Okay, stop voting. I see your guys still voting. All right, so stop voting and close. Stop. Let's see the answer. The answer, my friend, is in the wind. The answer, ooh, mouse and drawing tablet are really close. And the guys who like equally both, okay, I don't like equally both because I love tablets, drawing tablets or display tablets. Display tablet means that you have big screen and you're drawing on the screen, because with this thing you can control a pen pressure and the size of the brush just by the amount of pressure you're applying on the tablet, and it's more natural to be more precise in drawing because you already used to draw like this when you were a kid. So this is my weapon of choice. There are so many tablets. I'm using Wacom and SenseLab. It's a new product on the market that I did a review, but there are many others like Gaumon, XP Pen, Hue, and they're all pretty good. They're competing with each other and they're making really good, and that's amazing because the better, more competitive the companies are, the better products should be in theory, and they're really good. So I always advise people to use this. It's a little bit pain in the, if you never ever used this before. It's a little bit learning curve because you're painting on here, and looking at the screen, and sometimes it can be frustrating at the beginning, just at the beginning. So some people needs maybe a week or two. Some people, I heard that some of my friends took a month to get used to it, but after that I cannot go back to this. So I have this the most cheaper mouse that I have because I'm using just for web browsing and things like that, but for work I'm using that. All right, now that you know that, let me just make this smaller. You cannot see this, but I can see this. All right, so I have my files here. I have this here. Okay, so here what I made, I need a little bit of the water. I'm talking too much. Problem voda za bolju za bubrege. So this is our Serbian water. Okay, so it took me 5 hours to make this, and it's really cool. I got the idea for this by let me show you actually. Let me show you this. Let's go here and let's go, you're seeing this, Pinterest, okay. And wait, I cannot do this on this screen or this screen. I need to go to my other normal screen. So this, give me a second, Google, Pinterest, okay. And here it is. I just type animal warrior, like you can see here, last thing that I typed. And first thing that got my attention is this really cute owl, but I made a mood board for other animals, warriors, and I took idea from few other things. So you can see there's so many cool things. This bear is really cool, and there's different variation of the bear with the axe. So actually this photo was my inspiration to add this axe, the axe as a weapon to the owl. So This is a really cool way to get your idea. Some people use just Google's images, some people use Pinterest, some others use DeviantArt, or I don't know. There are a lot of things where you can find inspiration, but this is how I got my inspiration and decided to create my own version of the owl, like a guardian of the forest. That's how I actually named this artwork, so Guardian of the Forest. And obviously, the best friend of the owls are mice or snakes, but mice, and you can see this poor little guy right here. It's hiding. So a lot of you guys guessed this wrong. Like he will how you say it in English? My brain froze right now. Execute this guy. Odsjeći će mu glavu. But no, it will not execute the guy. This guy is just like, he is on photo shooting and he's like acting like he's tough and I don't know, serious, but he's actually so funny guy and really cute. Oh, and like he's like, oh, again. So that was my idea, but whatever he thought, it's good. It's good. So okay, so let me show you how I actually made some things here, because I saw a lot of comments that is a little bit fast for beginners to know how I did this. So I will go with a new layer, and I really love workshops because when you're seeing now white screen, okay, and you can see me when you're live with the audience and you're presenting like I'm doing here, but live. First of all, you're feeling the audience energy and you can talk with the audience, you can ask the questions, you can answer these questions right away. We will have Q&A at the end, so you will ask the questions, but you will type it. I will try to answer as much as I can, and it's better, much better. But this is okay because of this situation. I cannot do these webinars, but it's more live thing where you can interact with the audience, and this is something that I really love. Unfortunately, here I cannot ask you something about this if you like it, if you don't like it, if it is too fast or too slow or whatever. So I'm doing in my pace, and it is how it is. Okay, so let's see. Let me show what I actually did. I searched online, as I already showed in that speed art. You can always watch that speed art, but I found, let's just, again, my course. I found the oval, this one, and I will actually copy this and try to show you like this. Okay, I have the oval, I have the armor, but now it's naked oval. Oh, it's naked oval. Okay, so let's hide this and let's bring back the owl. So this is the original owl with this background. So this is how I started. It's really easy to extract this owl out of the background. I don't remember what I used because you can use so many ways. Either I use this, it's pretty easy, and then manually refine things. By this I mean quick selection tool, or I'm using always, that's one of the questions that I get asked all the time, which version of Photoshop I'm using. Always the newest. Sometimes the newest version is buggy for a while, but I'm addicted to updating Photoshop. So this is it. I'm using the newest version, and with this object select tool, the Photoshop can automatically select what is object in the photo and do something like this for you, make the mask. As you can see, the blue thing, there is only one object here, but it can be several of the objects, and it's doing pretty good job. And with this, I can just extract, and let me show you by hiding this. This is our extraction. So it's really nice starting point, and then you can refine it manually. What I actually did here, I think I did like that because you need to refine the legs and some other parts. Okay, so let's hide this. Let's go back here and let's do this. The idea is to make the armor on the oval chest and to make the weapon there to put the weapon and shield, etc. So at the beginning, I was again in the search for different armors, and I found actually this photo right there, and I thought that this armor here would fit nicely. So I used the lasso tool, and now again, this is not me making a perfect image. It took me 5 hours to make this, guys, so I'm giving you the ideas. I use lasso tool. You can use pen tool, whatever you want. The pen tool is more precise, but I select this and this like that, and this is it. Copy it, Control C, and again, this will hunt you in your dreams. Okay, so going back here, and what I did, let's go all the way up, and I put this, here. Okay, and I will make it bigger. Control or Command T and make it bigger. Okay, so now this is a little bit strange, as you can see, if you just make it bigger, because it's not a good perspective. And if I made this armor in Cinema 4D or Blender, if I made this there, it would be much better fit to the owl, because I would model it according to the owl's body, the shape, the pose, etc. So here in Photoshop, you cannot do that, but there are some tricks that you can use to make it better. So right click and go to warp tool, and in the warp tool you can just, as the name says, you can warp it around. So here, what I did, the idea was to match the shoulders, like she has the shoulders, and the neck part I didn't care, because I know that this is not good. I would use for from different photo, so something like this, for example. And also what we can do with this warp tool, we can press Control and just make another line and another line, and let's make another. So by this we can move just inner part here. We are constraining this into just one rectangle, and just doing this, and we can change a little bit the perspective of it if we want, etc. So this is really good trick. You can also make horizontal or vertical lines, both of them, and maybe just go like this and just go like this, and you don't want to move this down, and you're moving just this part right there without this. Or if you move this, see, there's so many things that you can do it here. Okay, so I will not press anything. I'll just try to move. No, press Enter, and let's say this is okay. I would definitely get rid of this part of the wings, because here the idea is to put the shield. So we have a shield. It's smart object, so that means that if you make it small like this, and then you decide to make it bigger, because obviously this is not a good size of the shield, it will not lose the quality. So a lot of you guys who are following my tutorials already know that, but for new people, if I just rasterize this and make pixel layer, if I make this small like this, and then I decide to make it bigger again, this is not good. I don't want this kind of shield. Maybe my eyes are not good. Maybe I need to do like this. Oh, this is a really good shield. So you can put this shield like this. By the way, these glasses are just for blue light from the screen, and it's really cool if you're working a lot on the computer to wear them. So this is the difference between those two shields, either smart objects or regular rasterized layers. So we want this. And also I want to double click into smart objects to go inside of that. Go inside. Give me a moment to make my Photoshop work. Something is wrong, but I don't know what. Okay, what is wrong is this. Okay, and I want to erase the shadow, because I don't want this shadow. So we can again use either lasso tool or just eraser tool, and just go like this and erase, and maybe just a little bit here. And if we save it and go out of this, this is it. Voila, we don't have the shadow anymore. So Control Command T, right click and flip horizontal, and I want to make the shield bigger and want to tilt it a little bit, so something like this. And I will put it somewhere here, something, I don't know, like that. And this is the idea. So because this shield, it's whole like this, like Captain America is holding shield, I don't want this, where is the, I don't want these fins to be visible. So fins, it's not like I don't know, dolphins. I don't want these wings or feathers to be visible. So with the layer mask that I did here, I deleted, but not quite good as I thought for this example. So give me a moment. And what I also did, I don't want to do it right now, I also did, this face was like too okayish. It's not like some serious oval, etc. So I went online again and tried something. Before I did that, I tried this. So let me show you the magic. Let's move it here. And I tried this, how this would fit the oval, because this oval is not looking good. And then I placed this like that, and also I didn't like it too much. Also, I tried to play with this, erase all of these things. So this is what I told you, trials and errors. So 100% opacity, and it's like a bullet. This is bullet oval, so I didn't like it. Eventually, I lit everything here, and I decided to change the face, the whole face. So again, I went for another oval, and this time this was the right one. So let's put it right here. So this look is much better, as you can see. And what I did, again, I use whatever tool you like. So let's use a quick selection tool this time. Quickly select this, and this is it. And I can delete the rest. I cannot delete the rest because it's a smart object. I can make a mask, and I can just put it here and say, ooh, really good, really good. We made a mess. But if we invert the mask, this is cool. And this is it. So obviously I erase the original hat and do this. And now I will go with my hat that I did here, and with my armor that is more fitted to the oval right here. So where is my armor? And one more thing, before I do that, let's bring back this hat and hide this one and make like we are making our version right now. So another thing here is that I want the lower part of the armor. What we did here is a big mess for now. Don't look at this. So I want the lower part, and for that I went for this image right there. And as you can see, and I made it a bit bigger. Right click, flip horizontal, and put it somewhere here. So let's see, something like that. And also I need to put it above the original armor. So it's here. And also what I did, now it will be a really sloppy job, but I delete everything here, the shadow and everything. And let's say that this is good, but it's bad. So like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, and we're done. And I extracted it out of the background, delete the original. Whatever I did for my own good. Am I online? I am online, so it's really hard to know if people are here, if you're online, etc. But you're there. All right, so I put it right here, and then again, warp tool, Control Command T, right click, warp it, and try to warp this. See, to put it like to match the things, and the shield wasn't visible in that moment of time, and now it's visible, but I cannot. So let's see, shield. I can do this. So let's go back here, right click, continue warping. So I tried to match, but it was good. I tried to match this, see, and to match this, but also we can play with this however we want. And for example, let's say that this is pretty good. It's not pretty good, but it's pretty good. You got a point. This is how I made these two parts of the armor. So let's go to my armor right here. And one more thing, yeah, before I turn this armor original on, what I did, what is really important, is this neck part I didn't like, so I went back to this and tried to find another neck part. I didn't like it, so I went for another image, and that image is not available at the moment. Please try later. It's there, don't worry. This one. So, and I like this part of the armor, so I took this out, like cutting like a pro. Okay, so I took this out and went back here, and again, Control or Command T, put it right there, and we can warp it too. So move it a little bit here and there, etc. So as you can see, to make it a little bit fit a little bit better. And let's say that this is okay. So I made a copy of this, Control or Command J, one part of the armor, I cut it out. So this part right there, I cut out with a mask. And the other part, this down part, I put this into multiply blending mode. Let's see if I do the both. Just a second. If I put this above, okay, I can do like that. Then I actually don't remember what I did at this moment because it was a process. But I will show you what's the procedure. So I made it, I don't know, maybe completely black and white. If I made this, I hide this and made this completely black and white. Yeah, that would be cool. We need this and this down below to be a little bit more black and white. And this is like okayish, and then we need to blend it a little bit better by going with this one into multiply blending mode and just have this as a part of it. And obviously on the upper one, on this one, we need to blend it a little bit better. We can use layer mask, and we can use really soft brush and nicely blend this in. This is one way how to do it. Another way is just to go and buy a new armor, and that's probably the best way. No, I'm joking. The other way is to go and use maybe a bigger portion of the armor and put it a little bit more here down below, etc. But this is the procedure, so you're now seeing that it's not so easy to make something like this. Everything is possible, but you just need to have time and patience and will and dedication to do something like this. So let's say that I make this really good. Also, another thing that I did here is this. I use this part of the armor and just cut this out, just this part. Okay, Control Command J, make a copy of it, so it's a separate layer. And what I did, I pressed Control or Command T and use this rotation point, put it here, and made something like this. Maybe I made it bigger. I don't remember right now. But again, Control or Command J, Control or Command T, put the rotation point right here, and made another one. Maybe made it bigger, like this, and did the same thing for the other side. So after that, after all these things, it takes time and patience and big mess above and below this. I got my own, ta-da! And what's this? Oh, I don't know what is this, but I know what will hide this. My shield will hide this, exactly. So shield should go above the armor, and this is it. So this is how I made it. Then let me show you how I made this really cool transition here that in this moment of time could be a little bit better, but also this here, right here. It's really easy to do it again. And the point is finding the easiest solution to make something like this. One way is to go and let's see if this, yeah, I put it in the armor, so it's right here and somewhere here. Okay, one way is to make another layer and just to go with my brush. Okay, use the color here, use the hard brush, not too hard, like this color, and just paint. And this is boring and tedious process, and you don't want to do that. You want to make it as fast as you can with less effort. You want to do it smart, so you want to make it easy way. And the easy way is to use either your own custom-made hairbrush or to use Photoshop already pre-installed grass brush. So that's really cool, and it's in Photoshop for a long time, and now in new version of Photoshop it's here under the legacy brushes. And where it is? Okay, it's here. There are two versions, one with just one stroke going on the right side and another that has two or three, I don't remember, three different, let me show three. Yeah, so see, you can use this one or you can use this one. I use this one. So the original one is combination of gray and black, not gray and black, but foreground and background color, and that's because it's a grass brush, and you can use, for example, one version of green and another version of maybe green, a little bit darker, and maybe there are two differences, but you know, to make a grass. It's a pretty cool way. So if you didn't know about this, now you know it, and it's an amazing way to either create some kind of grass or mask something in from the grass or things like this. So I use this thing, okay, and I sample this color, and with the X I swap the colors, X, okay, and sample another color, so just a slightly different, and then right click and okay, turn this all the way around like this. See? And what I did, I just made a mess here and changed the color. For example, I'm doing this fast way now. Maybe I did a little bit smaller. Here I changed the color, as you can see, and also you can always rotate this in different angle and do something like this. It's a really cool way to do it. And then put a layer mask with really soft brush. I always like to use really soft brush to mask some out. I mask this parts out, okay, a little bit too much, so I don't want. And let's say that it's pretty cool, and we have this. I use 3 layers for that to build more and more hair there, but you can use it like that, and also then you can. Now I'm having another idea. Actually, maybe I would do it better if I did it second time. You can create another layer, clip it to affect only that one, and then use different tone and just colorize this, maybe make it a little bit darker. You can even use a black, and see, you can colorize this however you want. Also beneath that you can create a shadow, because now everything is flat, but in the original image I decided that the light is coming from this direction, and I'll show that briefly in a moment. And then we need the shadow and everything. We need to paint again. We need to paint light, so you can use the copy of this. Just Control Command J, this lower part, Control Command U, and remember lights, poof, all the way down. And you can use either this as a shadow, so move it a little bit, blur it a little bit, filter blur, Gaussian blur, and blur it, I don't know, like this. For example, you need to find the proper amount of the blur depending of how is your light setup. And obviously, I know that you're saying, this is not good, but yeah, I will delete it. and erase the upper part here, etc. And like that, I made this, and then I made a few other things here, and so on and so forth. Also for the background, I tried several different backgrounds. I think I ended up with this one. So let's bring it all the way down here. Let's see how many layers I use to create just the armor and to paint these hairs, etc. on the oval. So the armor is a crazy amount of layers, and also the oval. So I think this was the background. I made it bigger. Yeah, I think this was the background like that. And also I blurred it a lot. So filter, and this time I didn't use Gaussian blur. I used lens blur, but lens blur now is not available because it's too late. It's too late. So probably we need to come tomorrow for the lens blur. Or we can make a trick. We can go out of the smart object, right click, rasterize layer, and then we can try to see if the lens blur is back. Yeah, it is. So this is the way how to use the lens blur. And why I like the lens blur, because you will see it's a little bit processor heavy, but it's giving really nice bokeh there, and the radius is all 100%. You can change the blade curvature, you can play with the rotation of blades, either hexagon, triangle, square, pentagon, octagon, blah blah blah. You know, you can change a lot of things, and I like it like that. So this is that I went with, probably something like this. I don't remember. And then probably I blurred it a little bit because I don't know, I maybe want a little bit more blur, or this was too sharp. I could do that in that settings of lens blur, but I later decided to do it, and then I probably did it like this. All right, now let's say that everything is okay. We have, let me bring a few other things here. We can close this. We can go with, you can see the colors. So green is grass, shield is this color, blah, blah, blah. Let's go with this. And let's go with, let's say this, and this. Let's see what we did. I'm copying now crazy amount of layers in this group. So give me a second or two, and I'm pasting all of this here. And need to wait a little bit, because again, it's everything. We are uploading, we are doing these screen recording things, etc. So it's a lot of things going on here. So I will move this down now. It's crazy situation. I should paste this with a shift. So if you're pasting with Control V, it will paste in the middle of the screen. But if you're pasting, let me show, undo. If you paste with Control Shift V, it will paste in the same position where it is in the original image. So again, give a few seconds here and there, and wait a moment. Okay, so it's there. And I made several different plans of the grass, make it darker, make it brighter, and so on and so forth. So here, this is the dark part where our mouse needs to be. And now what I want to show you is that you can drastically change the image from this to, I don't know, where is my underscore stats, to this. So it's just a big difference between these two, as you can see, not because of the X, obviously the X is a really cool detail, but because of the light. So you need to decide where you want your lights to be. So in this photo, I said, I want my light to go from this direction right there. So this is something how I want. And then I painted the light. I will briefly show you how to paint light, and then we will go to another example because we have so many things to cover here. It's really easy to paint light, but it's time consuming. So I always prefer to do something in 3D because I can always set my light setup properly however I want, render it out, and I don't need to paint anything. But in these kind of situations, when you don't have that, you need to paint light. So for the oil, I used either exposure or curves. In different situations, different tools are better. So remember that, you need to try. And I clip to affect only the oval and make everything darker. Only the oval. So it's crazy now. It's not the armor, it's the oval. And I invert the layer mask. And I did that with several different layers, as you can see right here. This is all light painting here. All these layers. But quickly, let me show you. So I decided that my light will go from this side. And that means that this part of the oval will be crazy, will be darker. So I like always to go slowly and to build bit by bit. So something like this. And just a second. Just a second. It's done. No, it's not done. And this is process that takes a while. I will now go a little bit faster to show you the point here. And you need to understand which parts will be more or less bright. Obviously, this will be a little bit brighter than this inner part because of how light is going and so on and so forth. And you need to invest time in that. And after doing this, both for the legs and for that, you need to do the same for the armor. So you can do exactly the same thing. And I will show you what I did here. So the oval exposure for the legs. See, before and after. And here is for the this is not good, the clone hat. And also in the armor, because I made this in the armor, this is the shadow from the shield. Let's go in the armor and turn on all of this and turn on I don't know actually what's missing here. I know what's missing, but let's delete this. I made a mess by copying so many things. What's missing here is the armor, these layers that are connected to the armor. So you can see here, this is before color grading. This is how the armor looks. See, the same thing like in the previous image. So the same thing. And when I use this, voila, this is better. And this is it. I added the mouse, I added the target, and added these arrows. It's pretty simple process. Just put one arrow there, draw a line, draw a line, draw a line. It's a shadow. It's really easy. So the hardest part that people ask me for this image is this armor part right there. So you know now how it's done. Definitely took a while, and it can be even better, it can be even improved. And after everything, so this is the final image, after everything, just a little bit of color grading can do a lot. So what I did here, let me show you a really cool trick. I merged everything into one layer, done a little bit of the contrast and making shadows brighter, maybe something like that in the camera. So this is before and this is after camera, a little bit more of the contrast mostly. And just to see, okay, this is one version. I will tell you what I did and where I did it. I usually, because this is a huge file, I usually do the next thing. I copy this layer before camera raw, and go to a new document just with that layer, and let me find it. It's right there. So I'm doing color grading of completely separate document. So it's whoop, like this. This is a starting position. What I did, this is after camera from the previous file. I'm using two plugins. So basically just two plugins, two filters, Nicolor FX with their filters, and Boris FX Optics. Both are amazing. I have tutorial on Boris FX Optics and on Nick's Color FX I'm using in my course. So you can, if you go here, you can see. Okay, so I'm using Pro Contrast from Nick Color FX. It's just a little bit more contrast that is protecting highlights and shadows, but it's making a bigger contrast. Then Detail Extractor. So it's just making detail to pop a little bit more. See? It's really cool. And then I use Boris FX Optics for this, for the light rays. So just really easy, press of a button, you are creating really cool effect there. And then I again use Nick Color FX, make it a little bit brighter. And here I use a little bit more of the glow from Oniric. Oniric is extension for Photoshop from my really good friend Mario. He is amazing. He did amazing job with this. Again, I have full episode on that. And after a little bit more local dodging and burning, I did a lens distortion. This is something that I really like to do it. It's in Nick Color FX Pro or Boris FX Optics. They both have these options. So by lens distortions, I mean the chromatic aberration and a little bit of lens distortion, as you can see. So after a little bit more tweaking here, back into Nick Color FX Pro, adding grain because I really love this grain thing, etc. So this is the final result. Actually, let's go back here. Go back. Let me see which one of these is. Yeah, this one is the same. So this is the final result. I really hope that you like it. It takes time to create this, and let me show something here where it is. Just a second. I want to show you one of my photos here to explain you the time behind creating something. So I was inspired by Cerebro and a few other things online for creating this photo, but especially this is one of my favorite photos because it's my father who loved to read a lot, and he passed away unfortunately, but I made this for him, and this took me 2 weeks to create it. The library is done in Cinema 4D, but in that moment of time I wasn't at my home. I was working on a laptop, and 3D softwares are requiring a lot of processor and graphic power, and I had a lot of struggle to make this on the computer, on the laptop, and it took me 2 weeks, but I didn't give up, and I ended up with this. So sometimes, like this, for example, I made, this is first model ever that I made in ZBrush. So I made a Batman modeling, sculpting in ZBrush. It took me a little bit to learn it, and then this is again in ZBrush done, except the background, this too. And also this model here, this is me, this is my friend Kraka, and I made these bodies in ZBrush. It took me a while, but it's really cool when you create something like that. You're expanding your skills, etc. So don't give up. Some things takes time to create, but at the end it will be really good. So I will close this. Any questions? Again, and this course. Okay, again, it will be again and again and okay. All right, so questions will be read at the end of this episode. Episode by episode, I mean webinar. So I will show a last example that is really fun. And it's, let's start with Lightroom. So Lightroom is another set of tools that I really like to use. Let me see just what are you seeing here. So I'm in frame. Okay, Lightroom is just another set of tools that I like to use because first of all, it's really good for making the catalog of your images, especially if you shoot a lot of images. And also, I really love to, it's this process right here, this development panel, it's exactly the same like Adobe Camera. It's Adobe Camera from Photoshop. So everything is exactly the same, but I love this. I like that I can use all these images and stack them in Photoshop as a layers. I will show you right now. But before that, I want to show you the idea behind this. I was in one place in Serbia, Mokra Gora. So for my Serbian friends watching this know where the Mokra Gora is. This is Šarganska Osmica, the train that is circling in the shape of number 8, like that, all around the hills, mountains. It's really cool. The nature is beautiful, but I took the photo in the night, and it was the idea to make a photo manipulation just for fun, for something else. But first of all, it was like, I will make something here for fun. And I didn't have any kind of lighting setup, and this light was like, I want to make the inside of the train a little bit brighter, and maybe the parts of the rails a little bit shinier or brighter, etc. But I had only one flashlight with me, so I was thinking, how is possible to make with one flashlight? And because I'm a photographer too, I knew the solution for this. The point is, when you have just one flashlight, you can do a light painting technique, sort of light painting. You can create multiple exposures and put the camera on the tripod. That's really important. And then this is like a first image base plate. Then you have a second image. See the rails here. I'm behind this is my friend who is just moving the flash, and that's one thing. And then we put it inside the flash, and voila, we have the inside of the train lighten up. So now I'll show you one really cool way how you can just press on the button, combine all those lights together in Photoshop, and also then we will do photo manipulation with me and my friends, my friend that is chasing the train, and I'm already in the train, etc. So I want to select all of this, right click, edit, and open as layers in Photoshop. This will take a while, and again, my coupon code. Cheers, guys. Sorry, I need to drink a little bit of the water because I'm talking for a while, and I have special treats here and everything. Okay, we are almost done. We could play the commercials. And one more. Okay, we are done. So what I like to do is to put this base plate in the first photo that I took without any lights. This is just an ambient lights here, all the way down. And then just select all of these and go from normal to lighten. This is it, from normal to lighten, and we have it. So you can just turn one by one light however you want. See, and also what is cool, you have control over this, a lot of control. So see, that's this trash can. So if you don't want the trash can to be lit, you can see the layer. For that, go with the layer mask, and with the black color, see, okay, this one too, black color. Okay, that's cool, but I like it. I will leave it like that. It's a little bit more lights there. Right. Also, what you can do, so for example, the inside of this wagon is like it is, but you can change it. You can either go to, I don't know, hue and saturation. See, you can change, but just that, flip it effect, only that layer. You can change everything that is related to the light of the wagon and do something like, maybe we want a little bit warmer light, maybe we want a little bit darker inside, not so bright, or don't use this for the brightness. You could use curves or exposure, whatever. So maybe we want a little bit brighter, etc. And we can play with this. Also, we can make this even better, but it's a more complicated technique, and I don't want to do it right now. But the point is that this is, as you can see, this is how it is in a lighting, in light and blending mode. This layer will affect only the lighter part. So everything that is lighter than the background down below, the layer down below, will be shown here. So if we make curves here, clip it to affect only that layer, only the inside of the train that we actually clipped here too, but we make it brighter. It will brighten up the whole image. Why? Well, because this layer currently becomes even brighter than the background, and everything that is brighter than the background will be shown in this one. So we don't want that. We can easily make it darker without any changes to the background. As you can see, we can easily change the color to something else, but a bit darker, like this, maybe a little bit more yellow. See? But we cannot go up. If we go up, if we brighten it, we will get a mess. Also, we can use color buttons, and again, not preserve luminosity. We are making this brighter. Again, with this, we are making brighter. It's not good. So there is a solution for that, to make luminosity masks, but that's completely different story. So I don't want to bother you with this. I will not make, again, perfect photo manipulation, but I will show you a few really cool tricks with this. So now let's bring all other layers inside. It's all the layers that I have. You will see in a moment. I will take this opportunity to. Can you guess what's this? Maybe like this. If you're old enough and you read it as a kid, you know that this is a snake who eaten the elephant. It's a hat, actually. It's a hat, but if you know about the joke, or not the joke, but that thing, that snake eaten the elephant, at the elephant, how to say it properly, it's from Little Prince novel. So we have amazing discount, $50 off the price. We have this guy. This is Kraka, my really good friend, and I will talk about this later. And we have again him holding the suitcase, and we have me. I'm here acting as a Goku. No, okay. So I'm again hooked up on these strings, and there it is. So the idea is, really quickly, to simulate the light from the original scene here on two of us. Like, there is a backlight, there is light from the train, and there is light from the train, there is light from the street lights. We don't, the beauty of this here is that we don't know what is happening here, and we can put any kind of light. We see that there is light here on this, but we can put whatever we want and brighten the scene here and make whatever we need. Also, this is really creative idea to like make the coat actually the wind is blowing it away a little bit, and here with me the train is moving and it's blowing it away. Also, what is really important to know everything in the front before you take photos. You need to know the angles. The photo of myself took a little bit lower, from lower perspective than the photo of this guy. You can see the floor. I'm near to the floor, and I'm a little bit higher. Why? Well, because I'm higher here, so I need to go a little bit down with the camera to simulate that here, this is my floor, and for my friend, this is his floor. So we have that height difference. So this is really important, and you need to take care about these kind of things. And now I will not cut everything. I already cut it out of the background, prepare for this because it will take a while. So I will just go here, group this as a background, and I will paste. So see here, the source is RGB, the destination is Adobe RGB. So I will, just for time's sake and the easy thing, I will convert everything into sRGB, but I love to work in Adobe RGB 16 bits. So 16 bits, I will go with 8 bits for now. And this is it. This is my friend. Okay. Why I didn't delete a layer mask and just cut him out? Well, because see here, I can use the shape of the shadow here. I can use that shape and transfer it to the background. I'll show you that trick. So we have him. We have myself right there. I don't need any kind of shadow here. Okay, so it's right there. And also we need a suitcase. So it's right here. And actually for the suitcase, I can just copy the suitcase itself. and put it right there. It's a big mess. It's me here. What I'm doing, I know it's a crazy mess. So now what we will do, we will try to make them, scale them properly. So let's put myself, I don't need any kind of shadows and anything, so I can right click and apply a layer mask, and that means that I'm only the layer here. But I will right click and convert myself to smart object, just in case I need to make myself smaller as a mouse and then make it bigger. It doesn't matter if you make it small like this and big like this. If you do this for several times, you will again lose the quality. So I think that this, I want to stand here. So I want to stand here. Okay. And I think that this is pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, I want to stand at very edge there. Let's say for now that this is okay. So there are several tricks how you can guess the height. How I did it in the original photo that I did. The original photo manipulation is that I have another photo, reference photo of my friend standing near the train and here inside the train. So just to guess the proper height. I think it's something like that. In the original, maybe just slightly bigger. Let's say that it's something like that, right? And for my friend right here, Control or Command T, I will not put him now in Smart Object because I can, but let me show you. This is really cool. This is really cool. If I put him now in a Smart Object, right click, convert to Smart Object, and I will lose the layer mask. And I don't want that. If I want to use that layer mask or whatever, I need to double click on the layer, go into Smart Object, and here I have it. But this is not how I like to work. So I need to undo it. I usually do like this. If there is some other way, I would love to know, but this is how I do it. I'm moving the mask to some other layer, right click, convert to Smart Object, put the mask back down, and here I have it. So I will move him down. Something like this, and just a second. Just a second to move these things. Okay, so I already have finished image here, so I don't want to, actually, I guessed it pretty much right. I don't want to lose my time now. This is it. This is really cool. Maybe a little bit more here, something like this. And let's say that this is okay. And also the suitcase here. The suitcase, the point is he's showing the suitcase towards myself. I need to catch it, and the train is moving. So this is pretty cool. Let's name the layers. This is Nemanja, myself, this is Kraka, and this is, no, this is suitcase. Suitcase, this is Kraka. I don't want Kraka to be a suitcase. Okay, so the point is to put myself behind the background. So to do that, again, the layer masks are our solution. So I will hide myself right there and use a pen tool and just quickly make a selection. Again, you should invest more time, especially around these things, but for the time's sake, I'm doing this sloppy, fast, and without so much caring about the precision, because this is for demonstration purpose only. So it's like this, and I'm almost done. So this is here, and everything behind that, I don't know, we don't need it. So let's make a big circle, go right there, and we can press Control and Enter. And it's like that. I will put myself back and just press a layer here. And this is really cool. I cut myself. I need to invert layer mask, Control Command I, and I'm in the train. It's really cool. If I want to put myself more in the train, I just need to unlink the link between layer and the mask, and now I can freely move myself in, but then I need to do this kind of stuff. But I don't want to do it now, and I don't want to do it ever for this photo. So I can put myself a little bit more out, maybe. Unlink this. If you don't unlink, you're getting this cut out, so you don't want that. So unlink this. And now you can move it, see? Maybe just a little bit. And I want to make myself a little bit smaller, like in the original photo. So something, let me see here, something like this is pretty cool. And that's it. So now we need to make a shadow. For this guy, it's pretty much okay. We can make the down part of the pants a little bit darker, etc. But for this guy, this is what I really like to show you. We have this shadow, and for that, I can just create a new layer and roughly use the lasso tool or whatever, pen tool. I will now do a little bit sloppier job. So lasso tool and just go like this. Just go like, let's say like this. And this is like a shadow. Okay. And then bring out back the mask. Obviously we need shift and to add more things here like this. Okay. And I want to fill this with the color of the floor. In the course, I explained what colors are shadow and how to make it, etc. But here it will take a while. So I will not do this now. So I will use it, the color of the floor, and fill it with that color and put it into multiply blending mode. Okay, so now we can change that color to any color that we want. Maybe we want to simulate this orangey color. Why it's orange? Well, because there are a lot of orange lights there, and we want to put this shadow behind the model, and we can call it shadow or shadow number 1, mambo number 5. No, the song. So it's bad shadow, but we can play with this. First of all, we can use this gradient to a little bit, fade out the shadow. Then we can use this blur tool to blur the parts, not here, but here, to blur the parts of the shadows that are further away from the model. This will not work good because it will blur to a certain level, but not enough. So for the next trick, I'll show you the smudge tool. Smudge tool is really cool. First of all, you can move it however you want, but also if you move it back and forth, more you move it, I like to move it. I like to move it, more remove it, the blurrier it gets. So remember that. Maybe it's a life lesson. The more you move it, the blurrier it gets. I can find several useful things to apply my advice here. Okay, and again, guys, I'm doing this fast, so it's not perfect. Remember that. Okay, so this is how it is. Then I can go with hue and saturation, and if I want to change the color only to that, see, I can make it brighter, change the color. I can colorize it actually, make it brighter, and go with some kind of yellow like this, and probably like that, and also maybe like that. So there are things that we now need to play here, make this even more blurrier and add even more shadows, etc. So add the back shadow, context shadow, maybe to emphasize even more. There are 3 types of shadows actually, but again, it will take a lot of hours for everything here to be explained. But the contact shadow is the shadow that is just here on the contact part, where the objects is just touching the ground, and then we can create another, not on this layer, let's create another layer. We can create another shadow, maybe with like this, and just like this kind of shadow from the lights from the train, a little bit brighter, and use the same, not bad, the same, needs to be a little bit more saturated, more reddish, something like that. So for example, let's say that this is good, but it's not so good as it should be. Also, you can see this shadow is much more blurrier than this shadow, so we need to make it more blurry by using this, and now see, and it will take a while with the edge of this. I don't want to do that too much, but let's say that this is okay. And also we can now play with the colors. So the kraka can be added in his own layer, his own group. Okay. Now, what is strange? You're sitting and watching me doing this, and my impression is like I'm sitting here talking to myself in this small webcam, and I don't have any idea if your guys are okay with this, if you want to ask a lot of questions or not, or whatever. It's crazy. But after this example, we will finish it, and you can ask questions, whatever you want. I will try to explain. So let me go back to our example. We can go to either inside a group, outside of a group, and let's use, again, so many methods, color balance, for example, and we want to make it a little bit more warmer. So because everything here is warmer because of that light right there. Also, what is really cool, what we can do, let's do it at the end probably. So let's go to the maybe shadows, a little bit cooler, and the highlights again a little bit brighter. That's one way of doing it. So I'll do that for myself here. Let's use color balance, and let's do the same thing. So I could copy more yellow, less red. Okay, shadows here. Well, a little bit. I'll do a little bit of bluish tint, but I should make several of these layers and paint it differently. But for the purpose of this, we can make a red skin. Okay, so let's see before and after. Oh, it's really cool. And now, after, imagine that we did all of this, and we did dodging and burning. If you don't know what is it, it's technique of, again, similar like painting the lights, but because I already did the lights in studio, I can just slightly dodge and burn things. Imagine that we are done with everything. We need some effects. First of all, we need motion blur of this suitcase, and when you're doing motion blurs, you need to we are adding motion blurs just because we want to emphasize the movement, to the impression that actually the suitcase is flying. In a real life, in a nice scene, without really high ISO, you can not freeze this scene. But if this is a daytime scene, doesn't matter if this is a daytime scene. In real life, you can freeze everything like it's like this. You can freeze. The train is just started to move out from the station. It's not fast. He's running. It's showing the suitcase, but you can take a photo of this with really high shutter speed, and you can freeze this moment, and it would look something like this. But for the storytelling, it's better if you do something like filter, blur, for example, motion blur, and it's on another screen. So it's here, motion blur, and as you can see, so I can set something. And if I set it too much and I want to change it, I need to undo it and redo it again. But if it's not a problem, but if I want to change it in any moment of time while doing this photo manipulation, then it's a big problem. I need to go with another suitcase and do everything again. So my advice for this is always use smart objects, convert to smart object, then filter, blur, and motion blur. And now let's purposely leave it like this. Like it's flash, it's crazy. And this is a suitcase. And now let's go to me. This is my folder. Okay, we have myself, we have the background, and we have the crack. Sometimes I like to go like different colors to different models or different groups, just because easier understanding what is what and faster finding the proper elements. So for the background, what I like to do, actually, I like to make a copy of the background, Control or Command J, and Control or Command E to merge everything into one. And then I can go to Filter, I can go to Filter Gallery, and I can go with a field blur. Again, I can convert this into smart object, but just for this demonstration, let me show you. I'm hoping you're seeing this. Let me just double check. Oh yeah, you're seeing this. Okay, so we have no, I didn't want a field blur, sorry. I want the path here, path blur. Okay, so this, and we have this really cool arrow, and we can say, okay, the train is going in this direction and we need to match the perspective line of the train. It doesn't need to be so long. Obviously, it will affect the image, but I like to make it, how to say, shorter, because in real life, this part closer to the camera will be more blurred than this part at the back. So we can even make it something like this, and we can make another line right here towards here and escape. Okay, and lower the amount of the blur. So here, let's say 25, and here I don't think. Wait, I don't want this. I don't want this. Come on. Come on, let's do it for the start. Let's do it from the start. Sorry, guys. Blur gallery. Blur gallery, pad blur. Let's do it simple way. I'm not sure that I can do different blurs on different paths here, maybe, but we have taper here. So I will choose this. I will choose, I don't know, I will try 25, I'm not sure. The blur will define endpoint speed. Okay, I have endpoint and this is what I wanted. So yeah, this is what I wanted. So I want point speed a little bit less, this a little bit more, and because this is closer to the camera, this will be faster, definitely. So it looks okay. Maybe it's too fast for this train. Maybe let's say this instead of 38, let's go to 30, and I'm happy with this. Okay, let's press OK. And now what we have here, we have a big mess. We have not just the train blurred, but we have the whole background. We don't want that. We want just the train. So this is why I made a copy of this layer. Create a layer mask with Alt or Option key. It will create a black layer mask. And now, just for the fun part, I can delete everything and go either just with the brush, okay, just with a little bit softer brush and brush this out like this, just the train. Okay, you need to be a little bit more precise. Just the train here. Again, remember I'm doing this fast. And then obviously you need to brush out this part, the tracks and this, because that's not moving, and that will make even better impression on the whole motion blur thing. If you press Alt and click on the mask, we are seeing, okay, the whole mask is okay. We don't want tree to be blurred, obviously, but we want the train. Okay, and this is how it should look. Then we'll bring back this and we say, oh, the suitcase is still blurred. Because we have it as a smart object, we had applied motion blur as a smart filter. So just double click on that, and ta-da, we can really easily change this and change anything here. So let's say, I don't know, 40. trials and errors, like everything. 40, and we need to blur this guy too. So if we are blurring him, we are blurring the shadow too. So let's go and say we can transform everything into smart object, but let's make it a little bit different. Let's transform everything into smart object, the whole group, and you will see convert to smart object. Okay, and here is the problem. So this is why I don't like it like that. All right, so we need to go step by step. So him, blur, motion blur, and this is crazy. This is very crazy. See? So it's too much, maybe 10. Let's say the 10 is okay. Let's see if we zoom it. Yeah, it's not good. Why? Well, because of this layer mask. So this layer mask is preventing the edges to be blurred, and we don't want that. So in this case, we can right click. We cannot right click, but we can undo this before we apply filter. So if you want to apply filter as a smart object, you cannot just right click and apply layer mask. First, you need to right click here and rasterize layer. This is how it is. So then right click and apply layer mask, and then you can go back to smart object if you want to have a smart filter. So motion blur, and you will see in a moment. 10, I think it's okay. I don't know, I'm guessing. And the edges are blurred. So he is running. We can do the same for the shadow, etc. And imagine that we've done that because we are already too long here in this webinar. I know that it's pretty long, but it's like this. I need to blur myself. So the same thing here, right click, and the same as before, rasterize, right click, apply layer mask, right click, convert to smart object, and then apply the motion blur. And in this time, maybe, I don't know, 18 or 20 or 18 looks cool. So I'm moving faster because of the train, and this is it. And let's say that we are done. We can do so many things here. We can change the sky, clean up these parts of the trees, etc., and then change the sky, etc. But we can just go and merge everything into one layer, transform it into a smart object, go to camera, and then here we can do whatever we want, change the mood, change the color grading, etc. And then also what I like to do is to go to the Color FX Pro and other Boris FX Optics to do some other things. But this time I will not do this. Maybe a little bit more bluish because it's night scene. Maybe so. Now you can choose. You can choose which kind of mood you want. You want like this. You want like this. Whatever. Then you can go to color grading here. Go to the blacks. And I like when it's night scene to put blue tint on the blacks, so you can see a little bit, not too much, and also to balance it more towards the darker tones. Also here we can go to the highlights, and if we add a red, if we add that split toning, this is how it looks. Maybe it's cool, maybe not. It's personal preference. Also, I love to play with these calibration tabs, and here we can do opposite, then orange and teal, or we can try orange and teal. It looks cool too. We can play with the saturation, or we can just go here to color mixer and go to saturation of the oranges if it's too much, or the reds, etc., and change it right here, and so on and so forth. Also, we can go to the effects. I like to use vignetting a little bit like that, and to add a little bit more darkness to this part of the scene, for example, just slightly brighter, darker, sorry. And let's press OK for now. Let's say that this is it. I will show you my version. This is before, just a second, before and after that camera. And I will show you my version that I quickly made before this, but I had a little bit more time. It's still not perfect. I didn't took as much time as I needed, but you can see it's a little bit better. I changed the sky, just make it a little bit more interesting. just to show what are the possibilities, different color grading, etc. But it's pretty cool too. The shadow is not good here. The shadow is bad. I really quickly just draw it. I didn't use the method that I showed to how to extract the original shadow. I just painted really quickly, but that's the point. All right, we came to the end of this demonstration part, and now is the Q&A part. So before that, I just want to see, I want to ask you another poll, and it's on your screen right now. So I'm really curious about this. Let's see. Are you self-taught or did you go to a graphic design school? Let me give you a little time, a little bit more. And okay, let's close this. And I'm curious about the results. So let's see the results. Wow. Majority of you guys haven't had any formal education in graphic design, so practically you're self-taught. I'm self-taught too, but after I taught myself how to do these things, I went to faculty just because I wanted to have a degree. In some case, maybe it will I will need it. For now, for 20 years of my work, I never ever need it, but who knows. So if I want to work as a professor on the faculty, then I would definitely need it, and I got the offer for that, but I rejected because that's not something that I would like to do. Just that. I love to be an educator, but not like in one place, like permanently. All right, so I will close this poll now, and I will give the mic, how we like to say, back to Vicente, and then we will start the Q&A. All right, Vicente, here you go.
Thank you, Nemanja. Fantastic to see all the content. Super interesting. The webinar is not over yet, everyone. Like Nemanja said, we're going to be going to the Q&A section. I just wanted to remind everyone that we have the recording coming tomorrow, as well as the discount code, which you should be receiving. And for those of you who won't be staying with the Q&A, I want to thank you for coming. And it's really fascinating to see Nemanja's process. I think that you get to see here, Nemanja is extremely holistic. You get to see him not just from a designer standpoint, but also from a photographer standpoint. All of the knowledge that he has to pass on. If you haven't yet checked out his YouTube or his Instagram, you will see just the volumes of knowledge that Nemanja has on all of these topics, all of these small details, all the different effects, and integrating things from different, not just from stock photos, but from models and from integrating himself even into this, combining this with even with 3D. As he mentioned before, with the other images that he had, a completely 3D body composite, which he didn't use for his work. It's really fantastic. It really is such a fantastic opportunity to learn from him and to hear from him with that. So very cool. Thank you, Nemanja. And yeah, with that, we'll now go into the Q&A. You can type those in, and Nemanja will be able to answer those directly.
Okay, so guys, you have here the part where you can type your questions. So let's see. Thank you. Laptop, wide screen. Okay. Will this be available later? Okay, these are answered. So how do you make color combinations? Well, that's a really cool question. Let me show really quickly. Okay, here. You need to learn a little bit about color theory that I have on my course. So this is a really cool website that it's paleton.com, where you can see, just to move something that you cannot see currently on the screen, you can see which colors are going great together, if that's what you're asking, and a different mix of colors you can see here, and you can really easily find the proper values, tones, etc. for triads, complementary colors, A lot of cool things right here. So I always recommend for everyone who start to do any kind of design or any kind of painting, retouching, whatever, go and first learn the color theory. That's something that is really, really important. Okay, now that we know that, let's go to another question. Okay, that's answered. That's answered. Hi, Nemanja, which monitor you will recommend for CG and digital? Okay, PD or SE. I always recommend for digital, for the digital compositing. I recommend PD series and anything for digital compositing SW series, because it's made more it's more oriented towards photographers. The colors are great on both screens, but this screen, the SW that I'm currently working, is it's made in thinking of the work of photography. It's a little bit sharper. The color reproduction is a little bit better, and I like it more for the things I'm working. For everything that is 3D, for everything that is video editing, etc., I love PD screen, and I'm working on that. So thank you for the question. Okay, just to see. Hi, Nemanja, I have a question regarding to pen tool. So when I do a curve line, when a pen tool next line curve, that is next line has a curve that is also unwanted and it's messy. Okay, I got you. So the point is with the pen tool, I have a full tutorial dedicated on YouTube about that, but let me quickly show you what's the trick with the pen tool. If you make a line here, so let's go to something better. This, if you make a line and another line that is curved, and you want another line to go straight here or some other direction, it will not go like that by default. It will follow this curve again. So if you put it here, it will curve it a little bit and follow that line. The trick is to press and hold Alt or Option key and click on the last point, and then you can go straight, or you can go like this, or you can go like this, or however you want. And again, Alt or Option key, if you want to change the original direction, you can go straight right there, and then something like this, and so on and so forth. So this is how that should be done. So let's undo this, and let's go back to question tab. So just a second. Totally getting this. Okay, you're watching. Where do you get your inspiration from? As I already said, Matt, as I already said at the beginning, I'm getting my inspiration from everywhere, practically. Books, TV series, movies, everyday life. There's so many situations, so many things that you can be inspired from to create any kind of composite, any kind of photo manipulation. So inspiration is practically everywhere. And if you heard about if you were here from the beginning of the webinar and heard about that exercise to develop your imagination to make it even better from that mushroom story, etc. In that way, you can just transform regular everyday scenario into something really wild and crazy. So that's how you do it. Okay, so let's see. Thank you so much. You're welcome. I love your sense of humor. Thank you. And casual style. I have a great appreciation of how long this takes and the attendees needs to be. Yeah, this took a while because I had 3 examples, but I hope that you appreciate it, guys. Do you use any extensions? Yes, I'm using this Oniric plugin that is a glow generator. It's amazing, and it's extension for Photoshop, and also the breakdown generator. It's a really easy way to make your breakdowns from photo manipulations layer by layer and put it, for example, on Instagram as a breakdown. It's amazing. You just need to select the number of seconds, the resolution, and where you want to put it, and just press generate. That's it. It's both are from my friend Mario. So you can search for Oniric like this, Oniric, and you will find both of these if you're up to it. They're not free, just to let you know, you need to pay for them. Okay, so can you please repeat which softwares and plugins are you using with Photoshop? Yes, I can. So I just mentioned these two extensions. They're both extensions here. Okay, but for the plugins, I'm using plugins, not plugins, but filters. I'm using Nik Color FX Pro. It was free. In one period of time, it was software that you need to pay for. Then it was purchased by Google. It was completely free. Maybe you can find still some free version online. And then it was purchased by another company. And again, you need to pay for it, but it worth the money. It's amazing. You can do a lot of things there for the final color grading and finalize mirror images and give it a different look and feel and whatever. It's really cool. And also Boris FX Optics. Again, another amazing plugin that I have a tutorial on that. You can check it on YouTube. And I really love it. So many great effects there that you can use, especially for photo manipulations in real time. Really, really cool. So just Google that. Okay, let's see here. Is there a quick magical way to learn about life? Quick magical way. Well, depends on your experience on the light. You can learn about the light by just watching everyday objects in your room. I have one light here, I have one light there, and see how the shadow is going from a big light, soft light, how the colors are, if the light is different color, and how that affects by bouncing. We have a blue light here and it's bouncing here, and on this side you cannot see, but there's a little bit of the blue tint, etc. So basically you're learning about light by just living it. It's subconscious, but if you want to go from subconscious in the conscious level and to apply that, definitely you need to invest a little bit of time. Don't go for that on that road to learn something magical and quick way. Don't go for that, because if you learn something really quickly and magically, and you will forget it really quickly and magically. So you need to invest a little bit of time. It's not hard at all. You just need to be a little bit patient. Maybe you need less time than others, maybe more time, maybe you're average. It doesn't matter. What's really important is just to understand how everything looks, how everything works, and just go and create photo manipulation by photo manipulation. And it doesn't matter if you are bad at the beginning. I was really bad at the beginning, like everybody else, and eventually you will start seeing your own mistakes and improving, and you will come to some point where you're happy with your work. But I don't know if there is an artist who can say that he learned everything and is happy with his knowledge. I'm a lot in this, but I'm not even close to happy with what I achieved, and because I know what I can achieve even more, and I want to expand my knowledge even more and to implement more things here and there. So the whole life we are learning practically. Okay, let's see another. I pick up, of course, during the holiday sale. I'm really enjoying it. Could you have please more course? Yeah, in the future. Thank you for picking up my course, and I'm really glad that you like it. And yes, I have in plan a few more courses. I did the photo shooting for the next course that will be really interesting, but currently I'm overwhelmed with a lot of things that I need to finish, and after that I will start working on the course, because it's a lot of time and energy needed to be done. Okay, is it possible to learn photo manipulation only by YouTube tutorials? Yes, it is possible to learn only by using YouTube tutorials. The only thing that is different between courses and YouTube tutorials is that in some course you will have everything from the beginning to the start guided, and it's more understandable. With YouTube tutorials, you need to find tutorial for that, tutorial for that, for that, and then in your own head try to find a proper timeline to learn something like what you would learn in a course. Today, there's so many things available on YouTube, and if you want to go that path, I'm encouraging you just be patient and watch as many tutorials from different creators, because a lot of us guys there are showing things that are doing in our own way, and everybody's doing a little bit differently, and you can pick up the tips and tricks from everyone and develop your own way of learning, your own style. There are no two same persons in the world, so maybe something that I'm doing is okay to you, but to some other person, he likes maybe something differently to be done. Same thing, but in different way. So try, experiment, and see that. Okay, which graphic tablet are you using at the moment? And thanks for all the tips. You're very welcome. Currently, for this, I'm using Wacom Intus Pro medium size, and it's amazing tablet, amazing pen. And also on the other setup that you cannot see, it's right there. I have another setup with one is Sense Labs tablet. I have a review of that. It's amazing. It's Wacom quality. And I have a display tablet from XP Pen and Hue, and so I love to use display tablets too. Right. Okay, I like the way you explained. Nemanja, thank you, best. Thank you for attending the webinar. Okay, let's see. Thank you. You're amazing. You're recognizing. You're very welcome. Thank you, Natalia, for attending here. What is the first piece of equipment you would recommend beginner to invest? Mouse, tablet? That's a great question. I always recommend two things. Good monitor, definitely, because that will help a lot. Seeing proper colors and understanding everything well, because that's also a good monitor will take a little bit care of your eyes, because that's really important. But if you are thinking about mouse or the tablet, obviously I always recommend tablet. I was struggling. I purchased the tablet, first Wacom tablet I purchased 2007, and I used it for a week or 10 days. I don't remember. I used it for a while, and I stopped using it. I was like, it was expensive in that moment for me, really expensive. And I was like, oh, I throw the money and I will never use it. I put it away. And then I was like, wait, let's try. People all around me telling me that it's amazing, how I cannot like it. Let's give it a little bit more time to try to test it. And after 2 weeks of playing with it, I couldn't imagine to go back to the mouse. So tablet, for me personally, when you get used to it, when you feel the benefits of using tablets, you would never go back. So tablet, that's the answer. Okay, how long does it take to do photo manipulations? How long does it take to do photo? How long does it take? Okay, somebody mistyped the question. So how long does it take to do photo manipulations? Depends on the complexity of your idea and what tools are using. Are you making something in the 3D, or you're traveling somewhere to take photos, and how many elements do you have? From several hours, or maybe from several minutes for some very simple ones, to several days or weeks. Depends what kind of project are you doing. So there is no like straight answer to that. Depends on the complexity of the project. Okay, thank you. Very helpful course. You're very welcome. Okay, what about after you create something? How do you make people know you and know your art? Is it social media the only way to make your art known? That's really good question. That's really good question. And the answer, my friend, is not so simple. It is actually, the answer is simple. You need to promote yourself. When I was starting, the one of the really great ways of promoting yourself was not actually when I was starting, but when I was starting to promote myself. I didn't want to promote myself until I was like satisfied with some of my work. I was pretty shy to put my work out there, but Behance.net was the place, and still it's a great place. Behance.net is now under the Adobe, When I uploaded first few works there, I got jobs from the clients by because I uploaded there. And this is how everything started for me, to expand. Then social media like Instagram, Facebook, and promoting yourself. Also, if your work is a little bit, if it's better than the other ones, then you will go viral probably, or you will get noticed one or other way. But if you don't promote yourself, only you and your surroundings, your friends or family will know about you. So you need to put your work out there. Today is the internet. This is the internet era, so you need to basically use the benefits of it. And there, ArtStation, Behance.net, Pinterest. You can use Pinterest to promote your work. Instagram, I said, I don't know. YouTube is really cool if you want to learn to teach people, and then in that way you will expand that awareness of yourself. There's so many platforms that you can use. Okay, next question. Nemanja, hvala na inspirativnom i praktičnom webinaru. Nema na čemu. In translation, thank you for inspiring and practical webinar. You're very welcome. Okay, do you use the tablet for everything? Not for everything, but for retouching and everything in the photo manipulation process, absolutely. Or just painting, no, everything in that process. It makes sense to me to do things like drawing, painting here, but trying to use it on something like your demonstration with a pen looks, no, it doesn't look nightmarish. Actually, I use all the time this, so it's simple and easy because, you know, you're painting, it's natural process. I learned that as a child with some other pens, colors, etc. So it's pretty natural thing, and it's really easy. I'm using mouse for browsing the web, everything out of the Photoshop. Also for 3D, I'm using mouse. That's really cool. When I'm sculpting in a 3D, I'm using pen. It's much easier to sculpt with pen, especially with the pen pressure option. It's really cool. But for other things, I'm using mouse. Okay, let's see. You're amazing, and the concept of really good. Okay, thank you very much. Monika, hvala puno što praviš odlične tutoriale, puno sam učio tebe. In the translation, thank you so much for making wonderful tutorials. I learned a lot from you. That would be it, if I'm seeing it right. So thank you everyone who stayed with me till the end here with us. Thank you, BenQ. And I'm now finishing this, and back to you, Vicente. It was a wonderful experience.
Great, it was wonderful for us as well, and no doubt for all of you here also with us. And yeah, this was just fantastic. A reminder to everyone again, the recording will be sent to you, the discount code as well, all the information. And if you enjoyed today, we always have fantastic webinars just like this, just like the one you were at today. All of them are free, all of them with extremely interesting people, just like Nemanja, people from different walks of life, different industries, different professions. And we're always collaborating with extremely interesting people and bringing content just like this to you. So with that, I say once again, thank you to Nemanja, thank you to everyone who came, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Sekulic. I was in the research field which focused on LCD and OLED technology. So after joining the BenQ, I found that I can more close to the user to listen what they need when start this journey. The most thing is that how to help them to focus on what they want to do, the creative process. We think for those creatives like designer, photographer, they should focus on the creative process. For example, they should pay their energy on what they love, to take a photo of creative new things to the world and not worry about if their monitor can provide the good color performance for them. It's just waste their time and creative energy. Since BenQ already make the good monitor many years, we start to build the AQ color monitor, and we need to co-work with different function team. We may work with user research team to collect the idea and they transfer it to the product feature. Then we take this prototype to the professionals and ask them if it meets your demands and back forth many times, and finally we can fine-tune the good features for them to solve their problem. And also our color expert fine-tune every monitor to make sure every model have the precise color which meet the professional's demands. We listen, hear what they need, and discuss with them, then transfer it to the product itself. So for this year's working for the AQ color monitor, if you want to climb the mountain, there's no shortcut to the top. You need to take your time step by step, then finally you can achieve the top of the mountain. Same as us. So this is why we can achieve the goal and have market position at these years.